A Hamas founder is free. But freedom has come with pain. Unable to sleep and recovering in hospital, Hassan Yousef emerged from detention this week. And his release is drawing attention far beyond Gaza and the West Bank. One of Hamas's most senior figures in the West Bank has been released from Israeli administrative detention after being held since October 2023. Hassan Yousef, 71, co-founder of Hamas and one of the movement's most prominent leaders in the West Bank, was released on June 11th, according to confirmations from both his family and Hamas. His son, Owais Yousef, confirmed the release to local and international media, while Hamas issued an official statement congratulating Yousef and his family. The group noted that Yousef has spent more than 2 decades in prison cumulatively over the course of his life. Before his most recent detention, Yousef had been released in July 2020 after serving 16 months in prison. According to media reports, Yousef was released near Hebron and was then taken directly to a hospital in Ramallah for medical treatment. Reports also indicated that throughout his latest detention, he was neither put on trial nor formally charged with any offense. Footage reviewed by Agence France-Presse appeared to show Yousef lying in a hospital bed with one arm in a sling. The cause of the injury has not been publicly disclosed. According to AFP, the footage captured Yousef speaking about his condition after his release.
"I can't sleep because of the pain."
Yousef is regarded as one of Hamas's most influential political figures in the West Bank. He helped establish the organization in 1987, alongside Sheikh Ahmed Yassin and other Palestinian members of the Muslim Brotherhood during the early stages of the First Intifada. Over the decades, he became one of the most recognizable faces of Hamas leadership in the Palestinian territories. Yousef is the father of Mosab Hassan Yousef, who publicly broke with Hamas after secretly working with Israeli intelligence. Mosab later detailed his experiences in the 2010 book Son of Hamas, in which he described his defection from the organization and his cooperation with Israeli security services. According to accounts of his work with Israeli counterintelligence, Mosab assisted in operations against Hamas and provided information that contributed to the arrest of senior figures within the movement, including his own father. The release of Hassan Yousef comes amid continuing tensions across the Palestinian territories and ongoing scrutiny of Israel's use of administrative detention, a system that allows suspects to be held without formal charges under specific security provisions. For now, Yousef remains under medical care following his release.
A militia built in Gaza's shadows loses its warlord, and another rises before the dust settles. Fighters salute a new commander, crowds cheer a death, and collaborators are hunted one by one. Israel's fingerprints linger, Hamas tightens its fist. With Abu Shabab gone, does Gaza get stability or a storm? Ghassan al-Dahani stood before rows of armed fighters in southern Gaza on December 5th, inspecting troops as the new commander of one of the most controversial militias operating in the war-torn territory. Al-Dahani, a deputy to slain tribal leader Yasser Abu Shabab, took control of the alleged Israeli-backed popular forces just hours after his predecessor was killed in what officials described as an internal clash in Rafah on December 4th. Video footage posted by the militia showed al-Dahani in military fatigues reviewing a formation of fighters in full combat gear. Another clip captured troops praying over Abu Shabab's body, calling for recruits to join their fight against Hamas.
"We call on collaborators to turn themselves over immediately before it's too late, as this would help alleviate legal procedures against them."
Abu Shabab's death came as Hamas launched a systematic campaign against Palestinians it brands as collaborators with Israel. The terror group's interior ministry in Gaza issued stark warnings that others working with Israeli forces would meet similar fates. Gaza's Palestinian Tribal Committee, representing several clans, backed Hamas's crackdown and praised the ministry for offering this pathway. The committee branded the Abu Shabab militia as guard dogs and mercenaries of the occupation. Even Abu Shabab's own Tarabin clan disowned him publicly, calling it the national position and distancing themselves from his actions. The clan statement said his death marked the end of a dark chapter that does not represent tribal history. Abu Shabab, in his early 30s, had commanded several hundred fighters in Israeli-controlled areas of southern Gaza. His militia conducted raids into Hamas territory before retreating under Israeli protection, operations that made him a marked man. Hamas had ordered him to surrender and face trial on treason charges. When news of his death broke, crowds in Gaza neighborhoods fired guns in the air and handed out sweets in celebration. Some residents called it a day of relief rather than revenge. As Hamas reasserts control on its side of the ceasefire line, residents report the group has killed dozens of people accused of collaboration. Hamas keeps quiet on official channels, but Telegram accounts linked to the organization have published videos showing public executions, kneecappings, and beatings with concrete blocks. The footage purports to show punishments for crimes including aid theft, drug dealing, and working with Israeli forces. Abu Shabab himself faced widespread accusations of systematic looting. A United Nations memo identified him as the main figure behind massive theft of aid convoys at a time when famine gripped Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu admitted in June that his government armed groups like Abu Shabab's to fight Hamas. Netanyahu defended the policy as saving Israeli soldiers' lives. Israel reportedly supplied the militia with weapons seized from Hamas and Hezbollah and provided air cover for operations. The popular forces now operate under al-Dahini, who was wounded in the same incident that killed Abu Shabab and received treatment at an Israeli hospital. Israeli officials have not commented on whether they will continue backing the reconstituted militia or provide security for its fighters. Al-Dahini told Israeli media he intends to continue Abu Shabab's campaign and described Hamas as too weak to undermine the militia's morale. But the militia's future remains uncertain, with observers noting that Abu Shabab's death exposed deep fractures within Israeli-backed groups vying for influence in Gaza.